Hi everyone, as you can see I'm in my hardcore survival world, but I can fly? Well, that's because this is the first video on my channel that isn't a hardcore survival episode. So as you can see, I've made a creative copy of my hardcore survival, because in this video I will show you all of the resource packs that I use to make Minecraft look even better. And as a bonus, I will also be showing you 3 data packs that I use that add some cool things to the game. But if you want to download and use any of the resource packs or data packs I will be showing you guys, they will all be linked below in the description, so make sure to take a look at them. But maybe by now you've already noticed some of the resource packs, like the bushy leaves over here, the moss carpets that hang over the side of the block, the weed on my farm that looks a bit different, the 3D lanterns and chains, just like the 3D trapdoors and doors. Yeah, that are already some of the resource packs I use. But I think it's time to show you all of them. Let's get into it. I think I'm gonna show you guys the resource packs on alphabetic order. And the first one is called Better Lanterns. And yeah, it does what it says, it makes the lanterns even better. Because in vanilla Minecraft the lanterns look like this, and yeah, they're pretty flat. But with the resource pack Better Lanterns turned on, the lanterns look even better because they have a 3D texture. But for the next resource pack, called Better Ores 3D, I will need to take a walk underground. Because just like with the 3D lanterns, this resource pack makes the ores 3D. So all of the ores you can see have a 3D texture. But this resource pack also makes the ores glow. And because of that, when you're in a cave, you can spot all of the ores very well. Like in this cave for example, there is some iron on the roof, but I would have never be able to see that without this resource pack. The next resource pack, or resource packs I should say, are actually 2 resource packs that I combined myself. The first one is called Bouquet Flower Pots. And this resource pack changes how flowers look inside of flower pots. So when you put a flower inside, it isn't just a single boring flower, but it turns it into a bouquet of flowers. And it does that for every single flower type, even with the newer ones like the torch flower and the eye blossom. These bouquet flowers look a lot better when decorating your buildings with them. And yeah, no, this isn't in alphabetic order, but because I combined these 2 together, I will show you them at the same time. The next one is called Flower Pots Plus, and it changes the boring flower pot texture into this new texture, which makes the flower pots look a lot better. And not only that, Flower Pots Plus also changes the dirt or the grass where the flower is standing on. So with the normal flowers, it's just normal grass as you can see. But for the flowers you find in a specific biome, like the eye blossom, the grass as you can see is changed to match that biome. And even with the dried bush for example, they changed the inside of the flower pot to sand. And even with the crimson fungus, the inside of the pot is changed to crimson nylium. And yeah, the thing is, I really like both of these resource packs. But sadly, you can't use them both at the same time. And I couldn't choose which one to use. So I just decided to combine them. It was a struggle and it took some time figuring out how to combine them. But I did it and I'm very happy with it. I think this is one, or actually these are 2 of my favorite resource packs. But another one of my favorites is called Colourful Containers. And yeah, this resource pack is amazing. It adds a different GUI for each workstation and container in Minecraft. So for the crafting table we have a GUI that looks like the outside of the crafting table. And they even changed the book where you can search the items you want to craft. But this pack changes the GUI of every workstation and container in Minecraft. So I will show you guys all of them quickly. We have obviously the chest, which looks amazing, the barrel, we also have the stone cutter, the smithing table, an anvil, a brewing stand, which is one of my favorites, just like the cartography table, which I think looks absolutely amazing. We of course have all of the furnace types. But finally, also the containers I don't have in my starter base, like the grindstone, the enchanting table, the beacon, the ender chest, and even the shulker box, which has a different GUI based on the color they have. And yeah, this also looks amazing. Oh, and I forgot the loom, which also has a nice GUI. But not only that, because when I go into survival mode, they have also changed the player's inventory, where they changed the armor slots and the smaller crafting grid. But wait, I just realized that weren't even all the things Colourful Containers changes. Because it also changes the GUI of the dispenser, the dropper, the hopper, and even the crafter as you can see. But maybe even the coolest thing is that it changes all of the GUI of the villager traits. And the villager you see in the GUI even matches with the villager itself. And they even did it to the wandering trader. The next one is just a small resource pack, which is called Cubic Sun and Moon. And yeah, it does what it says. It changes the sun into a cube to obviously match the Minecraft world. But if I make it night, you can also see that the moon is a cube. And yeah, I think the moon looks even better than the sun. And yeah, obviously the moon has different phases, just like in the vanilla game. The next resource pack in the list is called Enchant Icons. And when we go to the enchanted books, you can see that each enchantment has a different icon and a different color. For example, Density has a mace as an icon because it is an enchantment for the mace. And Channeling has a trident icon because it is an enchantment for the trident. And this is the case for each enchantment, as you can see. And as you can see in the enchanting table, there are also the enchant icons. And when I enchant an armor piece, you can see that the enchant icons are also visible on the armor piece. And the 8th resource pack I will show you is called Even Better Enchants. And you might have guessed it, it also has something to do with the enchanted books. When I go into my inventory to the enchanted books, they all look the same. Well, that shouldn't be happening. Well, I found the problem. For this resource pack to work, you need Optifine, which I don't have, or a mod called Custom Item Textures. But the problem is that this mod isn't updated to 1.21.5 yet. When recording this video, the latest version you can download is 1.21.1. But hopefully in some time the mod will be updated to 1.21.5. But as you can see, I'm in a completely different world, and that's because this is a 1.21 world. So in here the resource pack should work. So let's just take a look. And yes, it works. As you can see, every different enchanted book has a different texture based on the enchantment. And together with the Enchant Icons resource pack, these enchanted books look a lot better. For example, here we have Soul Speed and there are some souls coming out of the book. And here we have Feather Falling and the book has a feather on top of it. So yeah, hopefully custom item textures will be updated to 1.21.5 soon, because I really want to use this resource pack in my hardcore survival. But let's get back to the hardcore survival world. Okay, we're back in the hardcore survival world, but for this next resource pack I will go to the village that I'm building. As you can see, we have a windmill for the farmers, but we don't have any crop fields yet. And the next resource pack is called Fancy Crops. So I'll just grab a hoe and make some fields so I can show you guys this resource pack. Okay, I've built the crop fields and here's how they look without the resource pack. Yeah, they just look pretty normal, but not really interesting. But I don't like these normal hay bales to decorate builds with, because they don't even look like the wheat crops. But with the Fancy Crop resource pack, all the crops look a lot better. As you can see, the crops also grow to the side, and this resource pack makes the crops a lot more dense. And yeah, I think this looks really good. And the wheat has also some higher and smaller versions. But the thing I like the most is that these hay bales have the same color as the wheat crops. So now they look a lot better in builds. For example, in the windmill, with the resource pack this wheat looks a lot better, and yeah, in my opinion it just looks better than the normal vanilla hay bales. But pumpkins and melons are also considered crops, and their look has also been changed in this resource pack. Firstly, we have different stem colors, as you can see, and with this you can at least see the difference between pumpkins and melons. But now we just need to wait until they grow. As you can see, the pumpkin and melon have grown. And yeah, I think this is also one of the best changes in this resource pack. Because now, instead of just having the stems on the side of the melon and pumpkin, the stem now goes all the way on top of it. And yeah, this is much more realistic, and in my opinion, it also looks a lot better. The 10th resource pack I will be showing you guys has also something to do with nature. And to show you guys, I will go to a flower forest. The flower forest is, in my opinion, a very beautiful biome. And there are a lot of flowers, but there can only be one flower on one block. And I think that's kind of lame. But this resource pack, which is called Flower Clusters, changes that. With this resource pack on, you can see that there can be more than one flower on one block. When you mine it, it is still just one flower, but when you place it, it turns into 3 flowers. And this is different for every single block, because as you can see, here are only 2 flowers. And if I place some more, like here there's only 1 flower, here there are 3 again, and it's different for every single block. And yeah, this resource pack does that for every single flower. And with this, I think the flowers in the flower forest look a lot more dense, which I think looks a lot better. And also at my starter base, these flower clusters look a lot better than just a single flower on one block. For the next resource pack, I'm back at the village, but this one has something to do with the butcher. You might already have heard from this resource pack. It's called Fresh Animations. When I spawn some animals, like some chickens and some sheeps, you can see that their movement is really realistic, like how they walk and stuff. And this is the case for all of the mobs, even for the creeper, the bogged, but also the blaze or a horse. All of these mobs have a cool and realistic animation when they move. And one of my favorite mobs in this resource pack are the wolves, because as you can see they look really realistic. They even have a wagging tail, as you can see. And yeah, they can also lie down, which is really cool. But now I will show you guys two resource packs which I actually skipped, because they both start with a D, but I haven't shown you guys them on alphabetic order just like the rest of the resource packs. But these resource packs also use fresh animations, and that's why I wanted to show you guys fresh animations first. But now that you guys have seen fresh animations, I can show you these resource packs. And the first one is called Drodi's Illagers combined with fresh animations. This resource pack adds different looks to all of the Illagers. So here we have the Vindicator, and yeah, they have different looks, and with fresh animations they also have really realistic movement. And as a quick test, I will go into survival. Yeah, as you can see, they just look absolutely amazing. How they run after you and stuff, it just looks very realistic. But now we have the normal pillager, which also looks absolutely amazing. We also have the evoker. They also have a very cool look. Some even have wands, and some even have enchanted books on their sides. And besides that, we have the Ravager. This guy just looks amazing compared to the normal Ravager, mostly because of the fresh animations. The movement is just really realistic. And last but not least, we have the Witch. The Witch also looks amazing in my opinion. Just a sort of cauldron on her back and the potions on their side makes them look amazing. And the witch hat with some mushrooms also looks amazing. And yeah, you of course have different variants. But when I teleport back to the snow, you can see that they have a different look based on the biome they're in. Also the Vindicators have a different look, just like the Evokers. This is also one of my favorite resource packs I use. Just these details like the lantern on their side are amazing. But as a test, I will go into survival really quickly, because all of the Evokers also have a very cool animation which I want to show you. So here we go. Look at this animation, it looks amazing. But these evokers summon ice bats that come out of the ground instead of just the normal things that come out of the ground. But also in the plains biome, these evokers have a very cool animation. This makes raids so much more immersive. But besides the pillagers, we also have the villagers, of course. And yeah, these guys also have a very realistic animation, just like the Illagers. And they also look different from the normal vanilla villagers. Especially their clothes look different. And when they have a job just like this one, they look different, but that's also in vanilla. But with this resource pack, they also have stuff on their side and on their back. As you can see, this is a fisherman and he has a fish on his side. Here I have all of the villager professions, so let's take a look at them. First we have the mason, and he has a decorated pot on his back. Don't ask me why, but it looks really good. Maybe it is to put some small stones inside. Next up is the cartographer. He not only has a clock on his side, but also has some maps on his back. Then we have the Fletcher, and this villager just has an arrow on his back. Next up is the toolsmith, and this guy just has a hammer on his side to create some tools. Then we have the weaponsmith, which also has a hammer on the side, but also a sword on his back, because it is a weaponsmith after all. Next up is a shepherd, and he has some bags with some wool on his back. You guys have already seen the fisherman with a fish on his side. Then we have the butcher, and he has of course some meat on his back. The armorer has also a hammer on the side, and he has some armor on. We also have the cleric, and he just has a potion on his side. Then the leather worker is a villager who has some leather on his back. And last but not least, the librarian who has a book on his side. In other biomes, these villagers look just like the vanilla ones, but I think they made some changes to the face. I think the face colors look just a bit different, but it looks really good. But not only the villagers, but also the iron golem has had a big change. I think this iron golem looks a lot better and stronger than the vanilla one, which is good because he needs to protect all of the villagers. And then finally, the wandering trader looks also amazing with this big backpack on his back. And when I summon some trader llamas, you can see that they also have a big backpack on their side. And I think this also is a very good change to the wandering trader. But if you want to use Drodi's Illagers and Drodi's Villagers with fresh animations, you will need to put these two on top of fresh animations for fresh animations to work. Another resource pack I've also used in my butcher build is called Knives. This resource pack turns all of these swords into knives, but I still wanted swords in the game, so I've made some changes to this resource pack, so in my game only the wooden sword and the stone sword are changed to knives. Because with this you can make some really cool cutting boards to decorate your game. The next resource pack is called Mob Crates, because when I go in my inventory you can see that each spawn egg is changed to a crate with the mob inside. And yeah, I think this just looks a lot better than the new spawn eggs that got added. For the next resource pack I will go to the desert. We of course have the normal camel, but the resource pack More Camel variants makes it so there is not 1, not 2, wait a sec, not 3, but 4 camel variants. And because of these camel variants there's just much more variety, and I think this just looks a lot better when you want to make a camel pen, for example. For the next resource pack I'm back at my starter base, but I've made some custom trees, but in my opinion the leaves don't look that great. But when I turn on the Motschen's Better Leaves resource pack, the leaves instantly look a lot better. Because this resource pack makes the leaves more bushier, so the tree instantly looks a lot better. And yeah, this resource pack does this for every single leaf type. But also when you're walking in a forest, the trees just look a lot better and realistic. For the 18th resource pack already, I'm back at the desert. Because we of course have the camel variants, but we can't forget the cacti. With the resource pack Remodeled Cactus, the cacti just look a lot better, because they have some flowers on them and some parts on the side. And with the new cactus flower, these cacti look even better. And the flowers on the cacti go really well with the cactus flower. And yeah, I think this is just again a small addition, but it just makes the game feel much more alive. We obviously have the lanterns, which are 3D, but the next resource pack, Simple 3D Chains, turns also the chains into 3D, so they go really well with the lanterns. The 20th resource pack is called Simple Grass Flowers, and this resource pack just adds some flowers to the grass, but also some small plants and even some stones. Instead of the same boring grass block over and over again, these flowers and plants make the game feel much more alive. And even in other biomes like the old growth pine taiga, these plants and stones on the ground makes this forest feel much more alive. And even mycelium, crimson nylium and wart nylium have some simple grass, or in this case mycelium and nylium flowers. And on the mycelium there are also some overworld mushrooms, and on the nylium blocks there are some nether mushrooms. And this makes the ground look a lot better. Another resource pack I use is called Theone's Eating Animation Pack. And this makes it so when you eat something there is a cool animation to it. And it does this for every single food type. Even for bottles it works. And also for potions. Or buckets. And even a cookie. Right here we have some armor that should be very strong, right? But is it strong? When you take a look at the armor you can see that it's really thin. And this is the case for all of the armor pieces, as you can see. Also the boots are just really thin. But with Traben's 3D armor models, the armor is actually a pixel thick. So now the armor looks strong and durable in comparison to the normal vanilla armor. And also when you have an armor piece on, as you can see, it just looks a lot better because it is at least 1 pixel thick. Okay, I think we're now on the 23rd resource pack. Well, I'm not sure, but I do know that this is probably the biggest resource pack I use. It is called VanillaTweaks. But VanillaTweaks is not actually a resource pack. It's a website with a lot, and with that I mean a lot of resource packs. If you want to use a resource pack from VanillaTweaks, you can just select it and press download. But the reason why VanillaTweaks is the best website to get your resource packs from is because you're not just limited to one resource pack. You can scroll through all of the resource packs and select the ones you like. And then when you press download, VanillaTweaks combines all of these resource packs into one big resource pack. Which is just an amazing feature to download them all at once. Because it saves you a lot of time. And that's why I will be showing you them as one resource pack. But don't worry, I will show you guys all of the ones I've selected and combined into my own resource pack. But I use more than 60 of them, so here we go. I use HD shield banners, ashless campfires, moss carpet overhang, plain leather armor, golden crown, circle log tops, smoother oak logs, lower grass, lower mycelium, lower pots, lower podzol, lower snow, lower crimson nylium and lower warped nylium. That were already a lot of resource packs, but now for the variation. We have variated dirt, random chorus dirt rotation, variated cobblestone, random moss rotation, variated bricks, variated logs, variated mushroom blocks, variated endstone, variated gravel, variated planks, variated stone, variated unpolished stones, and variated bookshelves. Next up, I also use unique axolotl buckets, visually waxed copper items, age 25 kelp, sticky piston sides, and yes, I know the slime is red, but I'll come to that in a second. Directional hoppers, directional dispensers and droppers, better observers, and visual honey. I also use lower fire and lower shields from the unobstructive category. Ooh, that were already a lot of VanillaTweaks resource packs. I think we're now halfway, but we still have a lot to do, so let's take a look at the 3D category. And I can tell you, in the 3D category, I'm using most of them. So here we go. I use 3D bookshelves, 3D chisel bookshelves, 3D chains because the other chains resource pack doesn't cover the hanging signs, but this one doesn't work with the 3D lanterns. I also use 3D pointed dripstone, 3D amethyst, 3D redstone wire, 3D ladders, 3D rails, 3D sugarcane, 3D iron bars, 3D lily pads, 3D doors which makes every door and trapdoor in the game 3D. And lastly, 3D vines, 3D glow lichen, 3D skulk vein and 3D stone cutters. Besides the 3D resource packs, I also use the resource packs Rainbow Experience, Cooked Beef Hunger Bar and Red Hot Bar Selector. I also use unique dyes, and now the most important of them all, the Red Slime resource pack. Because, well, you can see, I'm the Slime Devil. And you might have seen this one in the 7th episode of Hardcore Survival, but Ready Lytra is also a VanillaTweak resource pack I use. And last but not least, I use 5 VanillaTweak resource packs in the fixes and consistency category, which are big drip leaf and small drip leaf fix, as well as consistent decorated pots, consistent helmets, and sandstone wall top picks. But I actually skipped one of the VanillaTweaks resource packs, and that one is 3D fungi or 3D mushrooms. And the reason I skipped this one is because when I would put a mushroom inside of a flower pot, this VanillaTweak resource pack would also make the mushroom inside of the flower pot 3D. But with that, the flower pot texture from Flower Pots Plus would change back into the normal flower pot texture because of this VanillaTweak resource pack. And that's why I've downloaded this VanillaTweaks resource pack individually and made some changes to it so that when you place a mushroom down it is 3D, but when you put it in a flower pot it's just a normal mushroom. So that I could still have the flower pot texture from Flower Pots Plus. But if you want to use some of these or other VanillaTweaks resource packs, you can just go to the VanillaTweaks website, which is linked below, and select the resource packs you want. But if you want to use the exact same VanillaTweaks resource packs I use, you can go to the other link in the description, which will bring you to the list with all the VanillaTweaks resource packs I use. And normally the pack will also automatically download for you. But that were the VanillaTweaks resource packs. But we still have 2 other resource packs left. And the first one of them is called Visual Armor Trims. As you can see, I have 5 netherite chest plates in my inventory with each an armor trim. But I don't know about you, but I can't tell the difference between them. But with the resource pack Visual Armor Trims, you can see that every armor trim has a different look when you have the armor pieces inside of your inventory. So here we have the Silence Armor Trim, the Wayfinder Armor Trim, the Bolt Armor Trim, the Tide Armor Trim, and the Flow Armor Trim, and they each have a different texture. Now the last resource pack I will be showing you guys has something to do with the maze. As you can see, when you have the maze in your hand, it has a 2D texture, but it doesn't look very good. And yes, there are resource packs that make the maze 3D, but with the Windswept Mace resource pack, the item is still 2D, but when you hold it in your hand, the maze has a 3D texture, but this resource pack also adds an animated wind texture to it, which looks really cool. And yeah, it still works great as you can see. But that were all of the resource packs I use in my hardcore survival world. But I still have 3 data packs left to show you guys. And the first one is called Better Item Frames. With this data pack you can use shears to shear off item frames. So now you have an invisible item frame and it looks way better in builds. As you can see, I've already used it in builds like my starter house, because here we have some books in invisible item frames and of course a bone for the dog. And don't worry, you can also use a brush to make the item frames visible again. And I'm also using these invisible item frames in my storage room. But let's say I have an invisible item frame for the chest with the mob drops, for example. But if I try to open the chest and misclick, the item in the item frame will turn, and it's really annoying. But with the data pack better item frames, you can also use a glass pane if you want to stop the item from rotating. So now the item can't rotate anymore when you click on it. A second data pack I use is called Blossoming Pots, and you can see 2 examples of it right here. With this resource pack you can put all sorts of plants in decorated pots. For example, you can put flowers in them, but also tall flowers, saplings, pale hanging moss for example. You can put even leaves, coral and pointed dripstone inside of them. But this data pack also allows you to put things in small flower pots you can't normally put inside of them. For example, dripstone, amethyst, the spore blossom and even crops like wheat or sweet berries. And yeah, I really like this data pack because it gives you a lot of options when decorating an interior. Now sadly, I have only one thing left to show you guys. And it is a third data pack which is also from VanillaTweaks. Yes, VanillaTweaks not only has resource packs, but also data packs you can download and even some crafting tweaks. And I use one data pack from VanillaTweaks which is called Wandering Trades. And this data pack changes the trait of wandering traders. Because instead of only selling the normal items, they also sell a lot of different mini blocks. And these mini blocks are really cool to decorate builds. Like this mini emerald block, which are really cool to use in the village that I'm building. For example in this market stall, but also in the house itself. And I can even put some in the secret barrel. And yeah, when you encounter a wandering trader, they will always sell some different mini blocks. But that were all of the resource packs and data packs I use in my hardcore survival. If you want to download any of them, they are linked down in the description. But in this video I've covered the resource packs and data packs I use in my hardcore survival world, but I also use a lot of mods. And if you want to see a video of those, make sure to leave a like on this video, and of course don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss that video of all of the mods I use. I hope I did you guys a favor by showing all of the resource packs I use, but I'll see you guys in one of my next videos. See ya!